It's a comfortable feeling. I've made the right decisions. I've had great advice along the way. As much as this sort of direct property investment can be a set it and forget it type of investment, that's what I feel it is. It's within a month, it's all running itself. It's having a reasonably small impact on my cash flow. The record keeping's easy. The Aviate facilitated all the reports that I needed to get it started. So it's been great.
I have a background in financial planning as well as finance, mortgages, insurance. So when I went to find a way to tell my clients, where they maybe should be investing and what was a good and bad option, I needed to do the research myself to find that out and look for the people that had the appropriate sign-offs. So that contact came through Plan Australia Group, but also then came through my contacting you guys direct and making sure that it was an appropriate way for my clients to be, probably a place for my clients to be placing their funds.
It has been a satisfying experience, mutually beneficial experience. I'm sure Aviate did well out of the deal as well. Am I allowed to say that?
So they're happy, you're happy?
I think Aviate's happy. I certainly am happy. I certainly would encourage people who are wanting to go down that road but not quite knowing how to do it successfully. I'd be encouraging them to talk to Aviate as well.
You will never do the amount of research. The answer to my clients is you will never do the amount of research that Aviate can do. You will never come up with the answers that they come up with. You may occasionally fluke an investment that makes some sense, and that's great, but you'll never have the surety that comes with actually having done the research. So if we want to treat it as more of a technical exercise than a act of the heart, then we deal with Aviate to get the property investment done.
It's been a very easy process from removing the emotionality and the irrationality that might go with buying a property that you want to buy a property because you like that view or you like that area or you had good coffee there or your kids might go to university there one day. Totally irrational when it comes to property investment. They just make it easy to take all of that stuff away, do the analysis and then present you with some findings that may or may not be of interest, and in this case they were.
And do you think property is a good investment?
I think it's part of a balanced portfolio. It certainly needs to be looked at, and I did find that my financial advisors struggled in that department, and they openly admitted that they didn't really have an offering in that section, in that part of the portfolio. So it seemed a logical thing to look outside my set of financial advisors, and this is where we ended up. Because I had a reasonable spread of assets and investments in my own industry, in shares, in domestic and international shares, in commercial property, and had no real way of being able to enter the investment residential property market with anything more than a gut feel, rather than some real concrete scientific backing. So Aviate came on the scene, and it seemed to be quite a rigorous scientific analysis of variables. I can't even imagine what variables there are on the 108-point checklist. Going through all of those, and me not having to do it, certainly seemed quite sensible. Somebody else doing all of that research and coming up with a simple product recommendation.
The initial investigation has to happen at my end, so I need to know that the client has a need, and I need to understand that need, and I need to understand what's possible for that client on a financial front. But once I've got my head around that, it really is a case of pick up the phone, call my contact, so call Warren, go through the details with Warren, this is what my client's after, do some basic investigation, but then wait for you to come down and speak to them, because it's a very much one-on-one, face-to-face hand-holding experience. I don't want my clients thrown in at the deep end and left. I want their hands held. If they could do it themselves, we would let them. The fact is they can't do it themselves, and neither can I. My own investment decisions have been far from perfect, as our recent conversation sort of disclosed. So I've got to get rid of some things that weren't working and get back into things that will work. So people need their hands held for that. It's a lot of money. It's a daunting experience. I often tell my staff and my clients I always deal with people that are stressed. They're either buying a house or they're buying an investment property or they're refinancing, and it's stressful. And people that are stressed need their hands held. So it really does need to be a phone call to pass them on, but then I need to know that their hands are held along the way.
And what do you see as the value in this service?
For them, I see a far better end result, or the potential of a far better end result, because let's face it, how we go in, we think we've got it right. It's when we come out that we know that we did or didn't. So, but there's a far greater chance of getting it right when there's research behind the investment, as opposed to, let's take a punt, buy the property down the street, it looks cheap compared to my place, and my neighbour said it was a good thing. Or it's got nice views, without taking into account, well, it may do that, but your tenant's going to not be the best tenant in the world, and they may not pay, and by the way, the wall's falling down, and there's a 38-storey apartment about to go in front of it. So the benefit for them comes in the potential of a much better end experience.
I certainly have felt the trust there. I don't think I've been misrepresented on anything, and I'm sure in the years to come I'm not going to find out that there was some unfortunate aspect to it that is undesirable. Yes, all the staff that I've dealt with, professional and friendly, even had a phone call from the big chief, just introducing himself and giving some more background. The office staff towards the end, when it came to organising inspection reports and defect reports and getting a selection of real estate agents who might be possible managers for the property, all very efficient. It all went so smoothly, and let's face it, from a distance I had wondered how that sort of thing would happen. It just happened. It just all fell together. Was tenanted within, I'd say, 10 days over Christmas, which is, I would assume is a harder time to find a long-term tenant. Was tenanted. The 108-point check basically assesses usually boutique-style smaller developments in desirable areas and goes right down to the number of bedrooms on the left-hand side of the western-facing part of the block, which, in all honesty, I'm not capable of doing that. They're looking for other DAs in the area. They're looking for the history of the area, what's coming up. They're looking for who's likely to be going to live there, where the work is that's going to be related to that suburb, where are those people going to work.
When we talk to the clients, we'll always go through that there is this 32 different areas that Aviate are going to look at, which is far outside of position, location. We really do want to know what's on the market, what's coming on the market, what exists out there, who the developer is, who the architect is, who the interior designer is, how big the apartments are, what's sold recently. So without saying I know the 32 criteria and can list them, I do know that they exist, and I know the crux of what matters is that we've done the research to know what's coming up and who we're going to get as a tenant, and probably who we will eventually sell to, if we choose to sell, if the time is right, if it fits the financial plan. But hopefully going in with the intention of, we don't have to sell unless we want to. We never want to be put in a situation where we have to sell the property. We will sell the property when it makes financial sense for us to do so, and because it's our decision. Hopefully post-retirement.
I haven't actually seen the analysis. I haven't seen the 108-point checklist of all the things that Aviate consider before making a property recommendation. But I don't particularly need to see the 108-point list. I've seen the recommendation. That's really all I needed to see. Reasonably time poor, don't have a lot of time to spend running around after these things, so it was an easy process from that regard. Selection of properties was presented to me, and it was very much just a matter of saying, I'm interested in that one. Then from within the property selection, working out which unit met the price point and the desirability factor, fill in a form, fax it, done.
I have a series of clients that have bought with Aviate and one that's bought multiple properties. All of them have expressed great satisfaction with the process and great pleasure in what they've achieved. So some of my clients are quite educated, quite wealthy, easy to deal with. Some not. And those same clients that aren't quite there when it comes to their education and their financial position are still getting the same outcome, still feeling that they've been well dealt with, well looked after, handled as an individual, and are coming out with exactly the same result and coming back to me saying it's a fantastic experience and telling their friends, which is at the end of the day what I want, because it brings more clients to me.
I've learnt from an investment residential property perspective that starting at the right point is important, because in 10 years' time, that's the difference between making it well worth your while and making it not quite so successful. I think that I will hopefully be more proactive about investment property rather than just hoping I stumble across something good. I'll certainly be keeping my eye out for good stuff, and being under the Aviate umbrella might help me to do that. I'll still be looking for investments outside of residential property. There's plenty of other places to invest money, but as I said, as part of a balanced portfolio, it seems well worthwhile. It's a comfortable feeling. I've made the right decisions. I've had great advice along the way. As much as this sort of direct property investment can be a set it and forget it type of investment, that's what I feel it is. It's within a month, it's all running itself. It's having a reasonably small impact on my cash flow. The record keeping's easy. The Aviate facilitated all the reports that I needed to get it started. So it's been great.
Some people would say it's not rocket science, but for our clients it really is. It's a complex thing, and you want research behind it, and you want to get it right.